Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Our major stories tonight: insecurity continues to rise in the country, especially in the conflict-hit northwest and southwest regions. Today, we take you to the sub-village in the northwest region where unidentified gunmen invaded the village, burning down houses, destroyed property, and killed one of the villagers. We'll be telling you more in this news edition. Plus, in Mangang, several people, most of them women, took to the streets in a peaceful protest today. They are demanding the release of their children arrested in Mangang and detained in Mangang. Those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Inhabitants of Mangang, a village in Mangang subdivision, have requested that their children arrested and locked up in Mangang subdivision of the southwest region should be released. The disgruntled people expressed their grievances during a peaceful protest that took place in front of the divisional officer's job site or office in Mangang. They say their children were arrested arbitrarily and taken to another region, which they say is incorrect. Let's now have more with Smanjik and Gabriel.
Gathered in front of the job site of the divisional officer of Mangang are angry inhabitants from Aucun village under Mangang subdivision. They came to show their dissatisfaction after 3 of the children were arrested arbitrarily and locked up at the Gendarmerie Brigade in Bangem, Kupe division of the southwest region. The inhabitants blame the incident on the destruction that was done in my village was ordered by the chief of Mpuasom, who financed it. After the ugly incident, the divisional officer called for order. Thinking that it was over, I only learned about the arrest of some 3 young people from my village by gendarmes in Bangem. The news about the arrest of the children of Aucun village also pulled the attention of elites of the village who joined the inhabitants to show their frustration in front of the divisional officer's job site. We have sleepless nights in town because every day we receive phone calls from the village. Even when a dog passes, people are afraid and shake from their bed, thinking it's a gendarme that has come to arrest them. We are bitter about it, and we request that the state should do something to stop these wrong happenings. The situation faced by the inhabitants of Aucun village is an old problem which traditional authorities of the locality have reported to the government, but till date, no solution. The inhabitants of Aucun have been in that confused state for a while, and the traditional rulers of Mangang have on many times reacted, but we are still waiting for the reaction of the government. The abusive arrest of the children from my village and taken to Bangem in Kupe division of the southwest region is a disturbing situation. Aucun village is based in Mangang subdivision of the Mongo division, and the people still don't understand why their children should be arrested and locked up in Kupe division of the southwest region.
From Mangang, we take you to the northwest region. Villagers of sub-village in the Nous subdivision say that they have been abandoned in the hands of armed aggressors by the administration of Nous. They expressed their frustrations today in a public demonstration after an armed attack that left 1 person dead, houses burned, and shops looted in the village that was last night. They decry the impunity at which the gang of armed aggressors operates in Nous. Details with Fomi Amtrong Sanda.
The newborn babies or breastfeeding mothers had the peace to stay back in their houses in Sop village, Nous subdivision in the Donga Mountain division of the Northwest region. They joined the wailing, mourning and pain crowd to express frustrations over repeated aggressions and an armed attack last night that left this Sop villager Sheikh Alidu dead, houses burnt and shops looted.
They came that they killed one of their brother up there. And they said they are going to kill 10 of them, 10 of us in Sop, 10 able men in Sop, that they are going to kill them. Last night it happened, week before last it happens. Things are happening, we don't know right now, we don't know who is next right now.
The attack comes exactly 1 week after a similar attack that left a sick man killed and burnt in a family house in Sop village. Seemingly aware of who their aggressors are, the people of Sop who marched on the first attack to the DO's office in Nous to complain say they were shocked by the response from the divisional officer for Nous subdivision.
When I meet the DO in Nous, he said to us that was the revenge, that the Fulanis are bringing it back to us. So we don't know what to do right now. We are in serious pains. Our mothers, parents, youth are crying every day.
Feeling abandoned and frustrated, the people took to the streets of Sop village to cry out to whoever can help. Vexed by what he calls a repeated aggression on the Wimbom people of Sop village, the general president of the Wimbom Cultural and Development Association, Dr. Apostle Rogers Fogwe, called on administrators, elected officials, forces of law and order, traditional rulers and community leaders to take the attack seriously. The attack in Sop village comes after similar attacks in St. Markov village and Borong, all of the Nous subdivision.
Now back to Douala. Residents of Bepanda in the Douala 5 area say it is now a daunting task for them to circulate on the road due to its advanced state of dilapidation. Piles of garbage have filled several streets, making it difficult for vehicles to circulate with ease. Immaculate Fogwe in her reports explains to us the ordeals faced by road users in the Douala 5 area.
Vehicles and motorcycles bouncing from crater to crater as potholes take over major streets across the city of Douala. We are on the road linking Carrefour Mala and Boulangerie de la Paix found in Bepanda in the Douala 5 subdivision. Motorists and other road users are now obliged to apply dodging skills while struggling to move out of some of the huge potholes. My back aches every day. The state of the road makes me sick. A lot of us, while trying to avoid potholes, have been involved in accidents. We are really fed up with the situation. Every day we need to visit the mechanic workshop. Not far from the area is a Madame Fawning Junction, which is equally in a dilapidated state. Part of the road has been transformed into a dumping site. The uncollected garbage has made it practically difficult for two vehicles to ply on both lanes at the same time. The Hygiene and Sanitation Company hardly comes to collect waste from here. Those living around here are exposed to all sorts of diseases, reason why they frequent hospitals. If the garbage was collected regularly, then we won't have to live in such a horrible environment. Our next stop was at the Saint-Michel stretch of road. Motorcycles and vehicles plying the stretch struggle in vain when trying to avoid potholes. At the edges, poorly disposed garbage could be seen. Residents implore competent authorities to construct them good roads while reminding them that good road network is critical to the economic development of a country.
In a related story, the Limbe City Mayor, Paul Ifome Lisumbe Ngale, is threatening to breach the contract between the garbage disposal company and the Limbe City Council. This was after the Limbe City Council decided to use her own caterpillars, trucks and also workers to tackle the issue of abandoned piles or heaps of garbage littered all over the city of Limbe. Davison Maimo now tells us more from Limbe. Still talking about filth littered across cities in Cameroon, we take you to Limbe, where the city mayor says he might be breaching his contract with his ACAM or the company in charge of carrying debt. Let's now have more with Davison Maimo tells us from Limbe. We will come to that would be in the course of this newscast or in our subsequent news editions. Now let's take you to the far north region. Inhabitants of Muturuwa in the far north region have expressed worries over the slow rate at which most projects in their locality are being executed and sometimes even abandoned. The people speaking during a meeting with elites tabled some challenges which they are still facing, such as lack of basic social amenities. Lucy Liengu Esia now takes us to Muturuwa in the far north region.
Faced with the Boko Haram insurgency for the past years, the locality of Muturuwa in the Mayokani division, far north region, has been plunged into darkness following frequent packets, a situation which has given room for the men of the underworld to carry out their atrocities.
La coupure est tempestive aussi de la lumière, c'est le début. Et puis le problème des
Aside power failure, insecurity, is water shortage. As a result of this, most houses in Muturuwa are constructed mostly during the rainy season.
Voyez-vous, ici à Muturuwa, pour construire, il faut
Here in Muturuwa, to construct the house, we need to wait for rains in order to engage in project sites. Whereas if we had constant water, we would have constructed our houses without difficulties. However, access to drinking water has become a daily struggle for the population who are exposed to waterborne diseases. In a bid to alleviate the suffering of the people, the elites of Muturuwa have mobilized to develop the locality. This is via a committee that had been created to provide boreholes and other facilities.
Les perspectives de la DECAM, c'est beaucoup plus.
The objective of ADECAM is to build, though we still have a lot to do. We hope that in the days ahead, water shortage will be a thing of the past.
Le projet d'adduction d'eau est en train d'aboutir déjà. Donc nous attendons juste quelques temps. L'eau sera disponible.
Presided over by the senior divisional officer of Mayokani, the 15th General Assembly grouping sons and daughters was an opportunity for them to denounce insecurity, mostly as the locality of Muturuwa situated along the National Road number 1.
Residents of Bengui have rallied for education. They say they want school resumption to be smooth. In Bengui this academic year, hundreds participate in a major cleanup campaign of the Teacher Training College to urge before back to school. This comes at a time the schools had relocated, bringing education to its nails in the entire northwest region. Their pleas are captured in this report by Mbu Stella.
On Monday, August 4th, the population of Bengui took to the campuses of Government Teachers Training College and the Government Technical Teachers Training College in a cleanup campaign. These institutions, crucial for the training of primary and technical school teachers respectively, have been inoperative since the outbreak of the armed conflict in the region.
These are schools that the Meta people had long wanted that they should exist in their municipality, but now these schools have been transferred to Bamenda because of the crisis anyway.
These schools, like many others across the Northwest region, have been severely affected by the nearly 8-year-old conflict, which has displaced thousands of students and forced the closure of numerous educational institutions.
I'm just pleading that we should consider peace and love. I plead that we should really have some kind of feelings to our brothers and sisters. We consider some education.
Despite ongoing peace initiatives, the crisis continues to grip the region. Conflict resolution experts maintain that locally driven solutions are essential to addressing the conflict effectively.
The strategies that have been put in place have to a greater extent not significantly impacted the conflict. If the strategies come from without the community, from outside the community, they're not going to work. People want to feel involved in the taking of decisions, in finding solutions to their problems. And when solutions are imported, they're likely not going to work.
In Bengui, like in many areas across the Northwest region where education has been hard hit, the hope is for a smooth 2024-2025 academic year.
Now let's talk health. The number of women settling for formula feed or artificial milk for their babies remain high in Cameroon and the world, despite comparative efforts adopted by the World Health Organization. With just 48% of exclusive global breastfeeding in 2024, health officials say women should not undermine the importance of exclusive breastfeeding. Let's now have more with Fomi Armstrong-Sander.
By the World Health Organization on the importance of breastfeeding and breast milk to newborn babies, the global prevalence of exclusive breastfeeding remains at 48%, below the World Health Assembly's target of 50% by 2025. For many women, the decision to breastfeed or formula feed is based on their comfort levels, lifestyle, or medical situations. They argue that formula provides babies with the nutrients they need to grow and thrive. However, their health officials insist that breastfeeding remains the most acceptable source of nutrients to babies and the most advisable for mothers. A pediatrist, Dr. Mabune Joshet, says breastfeeding helps defend the baby against infections, prevents allergies, and protects the baby against a number of chronic conditions. Breastfeeding also helps to fight against breast cancer in women. The APP recommends that babies be breastfed exclusively for the first 6 months. Beyond that, breastfeeding is also encouraged until at least 12 months.
And now let's take you out of Cameroon. Rwanda has shut down 4,000 churches in a safety crackdown over the last month. And over to Ethiopia, another landslide triggered by heavy rains in Wolaita has killed at least 13 persons. Let's now have details once again with Fomi Armstrong-Sander.
Landslides triggered by heavy rains in southern Ethiopia's Wolaita area killed at least 13 people as of Monday. Local administrators say that more than 300 people were evacuated from the area in the Kindu Didaye district and that the number of those unaccounted for remains unknown. Monday's landslide appeared to be less deadly than one that occurred last month in another area in southern Ethiopia where more than 200 people were killed. Landslides are common during Ethiopia's rainy season, which started in July and is expected to last until mid-September. With little infrastructure, the mountainous area of Wolaita have been prone to such incidents. In 2016, more than 41 people died and hundreds were displaced in the same area after heavy rains triggered a deadly mudslide. Last month, in neighboring Gamogofa, a major mudslide claimed the lives of more than 229 people. The United Nations Office for Human Rights said the toll could be as high as 500. In Rwanda, more than 4,000 churches were closed down over the last month for failing to comply with the health and safety regulations, including not being properly soundproofed. Except the decision affected mostly Pentecostal churches and a few mosques, some of them operating out of caves or on the banks of rivers. It is the first major crackdown since a law came in 5 years ago to regulate the proliferation of places of worship in the country. It requires them to operate in organized ways and in safe environments, as well as outlawing their use of loud public address systems. The legislation also compels all preachers to have theological training before opening a church. When the law was adopted in 2018, about 700 churches were initially closed. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame said the country did not need many houses of worship, maintaining that such a high number was only fit for more developed economies with the means to sustain them.
Now let's talk sports. The Cameroon Football Federation FECAFOOT officially announces the termination of its partnership with One All Sports, the sports equipment supplier of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. According to the media press release, this decision is motivated by the non-respect of the contract. Details with Cedric Chakutio.
2 years of collaboration, the Cameroon Football Federation FECAFOOT, in a press release published on Tuesday, August 6, announced the termination of their contract linking them with One All Sports, the official equipment supplier of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. According to the media release signed by the FECAFOOT Secretary General, this decision is motivated by the non-compliance with the contractual clauses. For sports analyst Laurent Kede, this is a good decision.
I think after 2 years of contract, it was really high time that FECAFOOT had to drop One All Sports because we didn't see the proceeds of the contracts, and I think this is one of the contracts that was really hidden from Cameroonians. We don't have the content of the contract, so sometimes it's going to be taken with mixed feelings because we haven't felt the impact of the unknown brand, let us put it like that in quotes, the unknown brand on the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and on the federation itself.
The equipment manufacturer One All Sports, which arrived to replace the French brand Le Coq Sportif, was under critics. Many people felt that the American brand, which had never proven itself in football world until then, had taken advantage on the president of FECAFOOT, Samuel Eto'o.
This separation will not be the same as the ones we used to have. The Le Coq Sportif had to drag Cameroon to court because of breaching the contract. The major consequence will be having a new kit sponsor. We are just going to wait to see how the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, uses his address book to bring us a true and a big name that can bring in big cash for Cameroon. Hopefully, we are equally going to have some details of what the contract of One All Sports entailed, because FECAFOOT is dropping the contract, but FECAFOOT is not telling us deeply exactly what were the terms of this contract.
The Indomitable Lions will use One All Sport products for the last time during the upcoming AFCON 2025 qualifiers scheduled for September. This final appearance will mark the conclusion of their collaboration with the current equipment supplier. FECAFOOT plans to launch a call for tenders in the coming days to find a new equipment supplier. Yet another turnaround that will not fail to spark debates.
Thank you, Cedric Chakutio. That Sports Reports brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Thank you, viewers, for being with us. Don't go away. Our programs continue. Equinoxe in about 30 minutes or 31 minutes with Guy Zogo from Yaoundé, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.